Hello, comrades. This is a new series I'm going to do called like leftist quotes, communist quotes. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. The point of it is, I read a quote that I find interesting, that's probably like leftist or left adjacent, and I read it and I talk about it and in a little short video, and yeah, that's what it is. But anyway, the first quote I have is from actually the Bible, the book of James, chapter 2, verses 5 to 7. And I just read it out. Quote, "Listen, my beloved brethren, has not God chosen those who are poor in the world to be rich in faith and heirs to the kingdom which he has promised to those who love him? But you have dishonored the poor man. It's not the rich who oppress you. It's not they who drag you into court. It's not they who blaspheme that honorable name by which you are called." End quote. What I find most interesting about this quote, I think, is that's almost like a rudimentary analysis of the class conflict, almost, where James is talking about the um, rich oppressing the poor, which, is sort of points out the class antagonisms, although in this he's using terms rich and poor as opposed to the terms of the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, but it's very quite similar, and especially for this being written so long ago and whatnot. Um, and then also earlier in the letter of James, he says in chapter 1, verse 9 to I think 11, quote, "Let the lowly brother boast in his exaltation, and the rich in his humiliation, because, like the flower of the grass, he will pass away. For the sun rises with scorching heat, and withers the grass. Its flower falls, and its beauty perishes. So will the rich man fade away in the midst of his pursuits." End quote. And yeah, once again, James is basically just calling out rich people, basically like saying that they will wither away like a flower being scorched in the heat of the sun, while the poor people will boast in his exaltation, as he said, which I think is very interesting. That in the Bible, it's just talking about like this almost class conflict, and the Bible has some interesting stuff. Like in Acts of the Apostles, it describes the apostles and the early Christians as holding everything in common. It even has a very like there's the quote from each according to his ability, from to each according to his need or whatever. In Acts of the Apostles, I believe it says something very similar. Like each of the disciples gave a court from their ability to those who needed it, or something like that. I think it's actually two quotes that roughly say that, interspersed throughout in different parts of it. But regardless, it's very interesting. Like the according to the Bible, the early disciples, lived in like a primitive communism almost. Now, notably, they had all possessions in common. Doesn't specify that it was only possessions, private property, which is very interesting. But I mean, this just I think there's a. I mean, I've been uh, becoming interested in like liberation theology and whatnot. I haven't done much research into it, but it seems like a very interesting movement, and it just seems like some of the stuff in the Bible backs it up. Now, that's not to say that the Bible is like a very progressive document or anything. There's reactionary things in the Bible as well, but there's also things that are fairly progressive in the Bible as well. But also in the letter of James, there is also some reactionary stuff. I'm not going to say that it's like perfectly uh, like a paragon of socialism or something. But yeah, uh, there's some interesting stuff like class conflict in here. And also, just to note, the specific translation I used is um, the Revised Ignatius, the Holy Bible, Revised Standard Version, Catholic Edition. Um, so I don't know what other translations of the Bible include. This is just the one I had on hand. So this is the one I read off of. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting, and I thought I'd share it. And I will probably be making this a series, like I said, where I do some interesting leftist quotes or left adjacent, as this is the Bible. It's not exactly leftist, I'd say, but left adjacent. Anyway, thank you for listening to this sort of me ramble on this, I guess, and solidarity.